Hi, my name is Kelly. Welcome to this course, Temples in Taiwan. This course is designed to give an introduction for people to appreciate beauty, art, culture of the temples in Taiwan. The temple culture was brought to Taiwan through immigration. It is localized and has become part of life for people in Taiwan. To learn about cultures in Taiwan, to visit the temples will be the great experience to explore the local culture and to know the development of the area. Han people, the immigration people from mainland China, we call them Han people. Han people immigrated from from China to Taiwan 400 years ago, coming to a new place to develop a new family. You can imagine the difficulties and all the hardship they have encountered in order to lead a new life. And therefore, to build a temple will be the very important issue for them because their spiritual needs can be found through the worship to the gods. Yeah, this is part of their traditional religions in Taiwan. So let's get started. So in this course, what you will learn is about the temples in Taiwan. And aside from that, I will also introduce some symbolic temples for you to know. But first of all, do you know how many temples do we have in Taiwan? Yeah, take a guess. It's more than you can think. Now it is recorded and the registered temples overall in Taiwan is more than 15,000. That is more than the convenience stores that we have in Taiwan. If you have been to Taiwan before, you might encounter all the convenience stores in every corner when you walk in the city or even in the countryside. However, the temple's number is more than that. So you will show to you the importance of knowing or visit the temples when you want to know about Taiwan culture. So most of the people in Taiwan are not Buddhist or Taoist, but we will still give you an overview about that. Because most of the people, if you ask the Taiwanese people, what is the religion you have in Taiwan? They will tell you it's Taoism or Buddhism. But actually, in the temples, you will find most of the religion they have are the combinations of Taoist elements and the Buddhist elements. And when they worship the gods, yeah, they will have the different gods in the temple. And so later on, I will also introduce to you some of the symbolic ones. And those symbolic temples will include Mazu Temple, Confucius Temple, Madou Temple, that is the temple in Tainan, and others. Yeah, we have gods of literature, and like Confucius, he himself is a person, yeah, in the old time. But because people adore his influence on education and also the morality teaching issue in the society, and this kind of characters will be deified, and they become gods that people adore and worship. So we will introduce those characters and those gods later on in this course. And so take a glance of look at the overview of the religions in Taiwan. As we just mentioned, the majority will be Buddhism and Taoism. So Buddhism is higher than Taoism, basically because Buddhist is very popular in China. So when Han people immigrate to Taiwan, they brought this religion back to the society or the community in all kinds of areas. And also Taoism takes up 33%. And the others we have Yiguan Dao, that is also a thread from Taoism. And the others will be the religion during the colonization. People from the Western countries, they brought Christianity to Taiwan. So right now we still have many people believe in Protestants or Catholics. And then people in Taiwan do not actually practice the ritual of Buddhism or Taoism every day. Of course, there are many loyal and faithful believers. Yeah, they will follow the ritual that they have in Buddha's temple or the Taoist temple. And Han people in general will believe in the folk religion mostly. And this kind of folk religion could be the combination of the elements from both Buddhism and Taoism. And then there are small minority groups of people that believe in other religion. And here it goes. Yeah, give a short introduction about those groups or ethnics. The majority of the indigenous people population is around 600,000. So all the origins, they are either Protestant or Roman Catholic. As you know, Taiwan is a multicultural society. And so aside from Taoism and Buddhism, and the others like Christianity is also very popular, especially in the indigenous people's tribes. And then in the past, indigenous people, they worship nature, but through the immigration and also the changes of the rulers, and Christianity was introduced to the tribe and then become their religion right now. And then for the immigrant workers, yeah, they are roughly 500,000, and right now they are more. And most of those workers, they are from Southeast Asia, and they are having different kind of religion and beliefs. And the large single groups of migrant workers are from Indonesia, and also the population of more than 200,000, and most of them are Muslim. And we also have migrant workers from the Philippines. They are roughly, most of them are Christians or Catholics. And then let's talk about Buddhism in Taiwan. Buddhism arrived in China in the 1st century AD by way of India. And this is the Buddha statue taken in Boguangshan, one of the very famous Buddhist temple. And Buddhist is one of the major religions, as we just mentioned, 35% of populations. And many Taiwanese people, they practice Chinese tradition religions, which will integrate with Buddhism, Confucius principles, local practices, and Taoist tradition. And so some Taiwanese Buddhists will pray at the temple for earthly pursuit. And of course, there are some people, they will pray for eternal quest. And in Taiwan, there are many big temples. They have faithful Buddhists. They devote themselves to accomplish the task that they think are very important, because their major concern is to help people to lead a better spiritual life. And therefore, some of the Buddhist believers, they are very faithful, and they are renowned to most of the people in Taiwan as well. And then let's talk about the Taoism shortly. As you see from the picture, that is the symbol of Tao. And then Taoism is a philosophical and religious tradition that emphasizes living in harmony with Tao. And what is Tao? The term Tao means way, path, or principle that can be found in Chinese philosophies and also religions other than Taoism. And in the West country, Taoism is most recognized by the yin-yang symbol, like this one. And this is very famous in many of the movies, and especially about the Kung Fu movie. But actually, this is the symbol for Taoism, and it represents the two sides of nature, including night and day, and death and life, cold and hot, feminine and masculine. And these sites, according to Taoism, are natural parts of human nature and the wider world. And next, let's talk about the folk religion. Yeah, actually, this is the religion that people believe in Taiwan. And even like the old generations and my parents, this kind of religion to them is part of their life. And many people, they practice the traditional Chinese folks, or we call them together the so-called Han people religions, which include some aspects such as ancestors worship. So if you have been to your friend's house in Taiwan, and maybe when you enter to the main hall, you will see the ancestors plates that people worship. And it's very symbolic and very important for people in Taiwan. And researchers and academics, they estimate as much as 80% of populations believe in some form of traditional folk religion. And such folk religion frequently overlap with an individual belief in Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, or other traditional Han people ancestor worship. And then from the slide, you will see that is the temple in Dajia. It's called Zinan Gong, in Qingshui, all the Taichung City area. And it's also very popular to local people. And in front of the temple, you will see the stand, and actually it's the big market for the villagers to visit and to buy things every day from very early in the morning until the evening. And then when you come to the temple, people will bai bai. What is bai bai? Bai bai is performed by clasping the hands together and bowing several times. Yeah. And then what do you ask for? When you bai bai, you will appeal for good luck in business, in marriage, or your health. And bai bai, if you come to the Taoist temple to bai bai, then you have to keep your respectful attitude and lift up your incense. Usually we will have the incense stick with your hands together. So you put the stick in the middle, and then you raise your hands with your palms together and fingers pointed upwards and begin your prayer. So you will have a stick here, and then you will do bai bai like this. Yeah, usually in the Taoist temple. So maybe if you visit Taiwan in the future, or maybe you have been in Taiwan and you haven't got the chance to visit temple, this will be a good place to do, to practice the traditional culture. And so this is the procedure of bai bai. We can try. So how do you, when you see a temple, how do you get in? Yeah, there are some procedures. You enter the temple from the left side, and then like the temple here, you go from the left, and then you come out from the right. And usually you will face the temple's main god. And when you say left, actually you will see people from the way that I do. And so if I am, the statue, and then this will be the left, this will be the right. So you are coming from the right, and actually it will be the left for the temple and the right from our aspects. So enter the temple from the left. That is the left of the temple and right of us. And then you face the temple's main god. You look at the god, and then you are there, and you worship this god first. And after you finish your worship for the main god, you will move around to the other gods. And the procedure you need to do is you have to proceed from the left to the right. And then you have to move around from the ground level, and later if they have the second stairs, you move up later one. So this is usually the procedure and the tradition way to bye when you come to a temple. And always remember the opposite side, because from the temple's aspect, your right, the right part is your left, and then the left part is the right for the temple. Okay, so next time when you visit, remember to come in from this part and come. Welcome back. We will introduce more about the temples in Taiwan. And this session, I still want to talk more about the religions we have in Taiwan. As we mentioned about the majority, Taoism and Buddhism. And actually, a group of people, our indigenous people, they are having the different religion. The native Taiwanese people worship nature. And because you see, they live in a mountainside and they trust there is God behind everything. So they worship nature. And then Christianity was brought to Taiwan by Dutch people and some European missionaries. And later on, of course, from United States and from different parts of the world. And because our indigenous people, they are the earliest inhabitants here. And through the changes of the immigration and also economic growth, now they most live in the mountains or the rural areas, and more than 80% of those populations, they are now all believe in Christianity. So when you visit the tribes, then most of the place you will see will be the church, or the big one or small one in the tribe, but no temples. So this is very interesting phenomenon. And I hope you will have the chance to visit those people when you come to Taiwan. And then this is a very local temple. It's called Zhenwu Miao. Zhenwu Temple, in this temple, they worship Xuan Tian Shangdi. We can have different names in translation. You can say Xuan Tian Super Emperor, or you can say Xuan Tian God, because there used to be a very important emperor, and he was deified by people and become gods, and people come and worship. And this god was found in Ming Dynasty, 1600s in China. But people in Qing Dynasty, when they ruled Taiwan, people brought this god to the location in the south. And so Zhenwu Miao, the location is in Jiayi, Zhuqi. Yeah, it's a countryside area, but also, yeah, quite many people live there. And what is the importance about this god? Yeah, the god is a protector to the country in the past, because there are different kinds of battles and wars taking place in China. And then when they come and rule Taiwan, they think the god can protect the whole land, the whole island. So they think it's important to have this god welcome to Tainan area. And this is in Jiayi, okay, in the south of Taiwan. And then the history of the temple can trace back to 1716 during Qing's dynasty. So it's more than 300 years, yeah, from the past until now. And people found the importance of the temple. And even though in Taiwan, this small island, we usually encounter typhoon and earthquake sometimes. And therefore, there's always a need to redesign or rebuild the temple. And especially for people who are very loyal or very faithful, they want to have a very good decorations to the temple. And so this is a very interesting part, especially when you come to any temples, you will see the dragon pillars on the two sides. And the dragons always, kind of crawls up to the sky. And then it shows that this temple welcomes all the guests, all the visitors come and worship. And then aside from the two dragons, you will also see there are two lions in front of the door, just beside the two doors. And then lion, we don't have lions in China or either in Taiwan. And but if you have the statue like this, and it seems that it's very powerful and it has the authority. So people, when they come to the temple, they will just feel respectful to visit the gods that you might worship. And so the very important symbols for all kinds of temples, big and small in Taiwan, you will see the dragons, pillars, and then the lions. Yeah, it's very common. And then it will show the brevity, of those gods as well. And then on the other side, you will see those are the Joes paper. You know, the Joes paper are for free for people to use when they want to please the gods. And then it says in Chinese that you can take them to worship, but you can donate some money if you want. So in many of the temples, if you want to take those Joe's paper money, then you can just take it. That's on your own feeling and your own willingness. You can put any money that you want, to leave them there. Then you can bring those papers and then you can burn them to please the God and then to show your appreciation for coming to the area. And so this is a very symbolic local God's temple that you will see in many places. If you come to Taichung, the place that I teach, and then you're welcome to visit many big and small temples. And all the display and the design may be different, but the elements, will be quite similar. And then let me show you more about what other temples you can find. You know, this is also a very interesting place that you may find, not only in Jiayi, but also in many places, especially in the countryside. The bigger temple, that is the family temple. And what you can find in the family temple. Usually the ancestors, yes. And they will have the ancestors' plate put inside. And then the firstborn son, usually the elders, the firstborn son, he will be responsible to carry on this kind of worship every day. So every day, if you are the eldest son, then you will be required to do the worship in your family temple. And then you will see the small temple, the one under the tree, and also the one just in the corner in the farm place. And the farmland, to grow rice, it's a tradition, or you have some agricultural products. It is important for local people. And then, of course, you hope that your product will be safe and will grow very well. And therefore, sometimes people will build the very small God temple, to protect the area. And then in those two small temples, they do not have the statue, but they have the paintings. And the paintings, if you look carefully, they are generals. And those generals, they will become the guardian for the areas to protect the land and also to keep the whole people safe from maybe the outsiders. And this is the very interesting situation that you will see. And then you will also find many earth gods, the farmers worship, just in the middle of the farmland. And then that is also for the farmers, they think it will be a blessing for them if the crops will grow very well. because it might rain a lot, rain too much, and maybe there's no rain at all. And therefore, they will need to have the earth god to protect their land and to make sure all the crops will grow very well through the whole seasons. And so this is something maybe you can pay attention to when you visit the countryside. And then for the family temples, most of the people, if they have the big land or they are from a big family, and maybe they will have this kind of family temple, yeah, at home. And next part, we will talk about temple and how temple will be part of life. And this is very important issue that to learn that temple is the center of the village. Yeah, if you come to Taipei, even right now, the biggest temple like Tianlong's, like how do we say, Tianhou Gong, Longshan Si, yeah, those are very famous big temples and attract a lot of tourists or passengers. But most importantly, yeah, they're local people. Yeah, they will come and worship. So temple actually is the center of the village. And in a sense, it is the spiritual needs for people because every time if you come to a new land, you start your new life. Yeah, you will build a temple that when you have any difficulties, you will have a place to come and you can ask for help. And then if you look at the decorations of all the temples in Taiwan, you will also know that temple right now is also part of our art center. Look at this temple, from the roof to the pillars and to the doors. Every single part are well designed. So from the architecture itself, from the carving or from the painting, yeah, all kinds of decorations, they all representation of the art. And then aside from the architecture itself, yeah, even for the different gods' birthday, there will be a kind of performance taking place. There will be different festivals taking place to please gods. And so the believers, they will invite the puppets show, and then we have Taiwanese opera and traditional music performance, or even the lion dance. Yeah, those kind of performance are very common to find if you have the chance to visit a specific temple during some god's birthday, and then there will be a big celebrations, yeah, from time to time. And then aside from the temple being an art center, there's a big space, outside the temple. We call them temple court. The temple court is very important for the villagers or for the people nowadays, because it is kind of information center right now. In the past, people will get together and have some gatherings and chatting. They meet people, and then they talk, and they even have some chatting together. And for people, maybe during the weekends, most of them like to spend more time when they chat and get together. They will talk about politics. Yeah, Taiwan, as we run for elections every 4 years for the president's election, and for the representatives election, for the mayor's election. And therefore, there's actually a lot to talk about. And it is very common for people to talk about politics in the public. And so this is the very good space, for people to get together and to talk. And for the elders, sometimes you will find under the tree, people will be playing chess, and for the children, they will have some fun. So it could be the playground, yeah, for children as well. And one of the most interesting part about the temple courts is especially in a big city like Taipei, it's hard to find a big open space and welcome all the people to come. And so if they have special important elections, the politicians, they will use this area to do a lot of election campaign. So many people, they are making good use of the space, the temple court, for many different kind of activities. Even the performance, if they want to have the big musical performance orchestra, they might take this place as one of the choice. Okay, so we will talk about the other issues to introduce more about temples later. Welcome back. Yeah, we just talked about temple is part of our life, and there are many things you can find in the temple. And firstly, let's talk about burning incense. Yeah, in the Taoist temple, you will see those kind of phenomenon. When you look at the incense burner, filled of smoke, that means this temple is very, very popular for people to come and worship. So if you want to know if this temple is popular or not, and how many people come and visit, usually people can tell from the smoke. And we call it 香火鼎盛, means the smoke is always, full of the air. But of course, it's not good for the air pollution. And actually, nowadays we have some changes, about the policy for burning those josi, paper money, or even using the sticks. Right now, we have certain control about that. But still, this is our tradition, and especially as the smoke, prosperous is symbolic, for the believers. And burning incense, there are many customs concerning about the folk practice of burning incense. And in Chinese, we call 烧香. Usually it also means 拜拜, worship. And burning incense is a custom passed down from ancient worship rituals. And when the ancient Chinese rendered cult to God or their ancestors, they usually burned their sacrifices to make heavy smoke. So it was believed that they could communicate with the spirit through the smoke. There are many customs concerning the folk practice of burning incense, and one of them is this, burning the first incense stick. In Chinese, we call it 响头香. The first incense stick refers to the first stick to be burned in the incense burner in the temple, especially for the Chinese New Year. The Chinese New Year, or we call the Lunar New Year, is considered a time of transition. If you have been a bad luck for the whole year, and what do you want to do? You want to have a better luck in the following year. And therefore, the Lunar New Year will be the time for your transition. And a lot of people, they will line up, and then they want to get this first stick at the temple. So it become very popular right now for usually the big temples. And people want to get the first stick in the burner because it is believed that they will receive the best fortune in the rest of the year. So you can experience next time you visit Taiwan during the Chinese Year time. And then as right now everything becomes so convenient. So including the incense purchasing, it becomes very, very convenient. So when you pray, you have to come to the temples and you pray to the main god in front of you. And then you have purchased this incense, and you can just pay either by cash or use your Easy Card and before you worship. And as this picture shown to you that the whole process is straightforward and convenient. You paid, and then you get the stick, and then you light up the stick, and then you can go and bye-bye. So like this. This is incense burner, usually very big one, especially for the big temples, because every time when you worship one god, you will have one stick, to put in the burner. So there are four incense burners in Dajia Zhennan Temple. Dajia Zhennan Temple is very famous Mazu temple, and believers, they usually burn one incense at each burner after you worship one god or one goddess in each session. So it's very common that when you come to one temple, there are many gods that you want to worship. So how do you purchase how many incense do you need? Yeah, so usually we take 3, and it's common if you have different intentions and you know the number of gods and you know exactly what are the gods you want to worship, then so you will get enough incense when you get in to the temple. And aside from the incense, there's another important element when you visit the temple to worship. It is called divinatory sticks. Yeah, or you can say the bamboo sticks. Yeah, this is like the fortune, you want to receive from God, or maybe you want to have some answers or response from the gods that you worship. And it is also common that the qiantong, the holder, beside that, they will have some introductions, showing to you how to pray properly. And Taoist temple usually prepare divinatory sticks. We call it tiantiao. They are usually made of bamboo. And those tiantiao, the sticks were put in qiantong in the holder. And then believers, they will choose randomly by shaking the containers until one of the stick came out. But usually people don't do that because, in the past, it's easy. You just shake and then one of them will come out. But if you have too many people, they want to shake the holder, maybe, those sticks will be ruined very easily. Therefore, there are different ways of doing that. Yeah, I will introduce to you later. And then the sticks will show the numbers of a poem. So you have to find in one of the drawer usually, and then to get the number. And then from the poem, it will talk about the implication of the God's intention to you. And if you got the chance to visit the website, you can actually do the divinatory stick draw online. But we will tell you more about how to proceed properly. And those are the 4 elements you will find when you come to draw a divinatory stick. So first of all, the first one is called moon blocks, because the shape, the crescent, like a crescent moon, or we call them divinatory blocks. Yeah, they are 2 pieces, and then the shape is like the crescent moon. One side flat, and then one side is convex. So like this. So usually this is yes, this is no, this is no, and we will talk about that later. So this is the first item you will find, and then the second one is the divinatory stick, and usually there will be a number, on the stick. And therefore, after you pray and you have to verify if this is the correct stick that the God wants to tell you, so you have to do the verification. And right now, because in the modern time, you can do that from screen by touching. And then the last step is when you get the number, you have to match the number to a poem. And usually you will get a piece of paper like this, and inside there is a poem. And if you don't know the contents, then you can ask for help from the staff in the temple. So let me tell you how to operate the divinatory stick drawing. So this is the procedure you will see. From the symbol of the poem, it's a very good luck. Yeah, if you get this one, that is good. And this is the sample from Chen Huangmiao, from the divinatory stick drawing online. And then you can get this one if you are lucky. And so what is the procedure? First of all, you have to request permission to draw divinatory stick by casting moon sticks. So you have 2 pieces of that. So you have to kind of cast them on the floor. But before you do that, you have to tell the God what you need. So when you come to worship, you have to inform God your full name, like Kelly Cho, your family name, and also your own your family name, and also your own name. So your full name, and also your birthday, including the year, the month, and also the date, the 4 information. And another thing is you have to tell the God your address. Yeah, because if you have the same name and also the same person, the same birthday, you have to talk about your own address. Then the God can distinguish where you live. And so if you talk about all your own introduction, you have to also inform God what you are asking for. So your request must be clear. And then when you are done with your request, and then you cast those moon blocks, and then if you get it right like this, it means yes. So what about this? If you cast the sticks on the floor and then it becomes this means that your request is not clear, or maybe you have to repeat something like your information. And then if your moon blocks turn out this way, and then it means this is negative. So maybe you can try other questions afterwards. And so it's a kind of interesting process, but it's necessary if you want to ask for the answer properly. And if you got yes, we call 圣杯显杯, or in English we can say it's the sacred combination. So I hope next time if you cast the moon blocks, you will always get the good answer, yes. So if the answer is yes, then you can draw a stick by pulling up the sticks together and then put them down together, and you will take a look to see which one is the tallest. And the tallest bamboo stick will be, or probably, the answer that the God is answering to you. And when you get this stick out, you have to come back to the God again. Then you have to cast those 2 pieces of moon blocks again. And if the answer is yes, then this stick will show you the correct number for the poem. And the poem is the answer or the implication from the God you worship. And so you come back and verify and make sure this divinatory stick is drawn is correct. Then you can look at the number on the stick, and then you go to one of the drawer to find out the number, and the number in a piece of paper is a poem like this, and it will show to you the implication of God. So practice how to draw a divinatory stick. And then, of course, it will be good if you got everything very positive. But sometimes, life is not always going straight. You have to try and try again. And then if you get this kind of poem, it means that you are lucky. No matter what kind of request you are having, you might ask for marriage, you might ask for promotion, you might ask for business, want to have a successful business, or you are the farmer, you hope that you have a very good harvest for the following season, or you want to go out for traveling, if you want to act for children, for babies, yeah, anything you can find, yeah, it's all here. And then the poem is on the side, the upper side, and then the following referring to the different requests you have. If you are the farmer, then yes, very good. And if you are asking for having children, yes, you will have a son, yeah, according to this poem. And then if you are going to find a good marriage, yes, this is the right person. And so this is a very interesting process to get the poem and to know the implication from God based on your request. So good luck. We will talk about the other issues later. Earlier, we talked about divinatory sticks and how to draw a good poem, to know the impression from God. And right now, we can talk more about the other elements. And so people, if they come to the temple to worship, yeah, sometimes they do not just fight by, they will bring something along with them. We call them offerings. And some of the offerings could be the flute or any kind of food or snakes, and including the jewels paper. They will place them on the tribute table or on the around the incense burner located in the front. And this is in Zhennan Gong. Yeah, people are worshiping gods and they show their gratitude. And after worship, those of the offerings they can bring home and share with their family members. And it is believed that if you share those food and they are already blessed by the gods, and therefore when you eat the food, you will also be blessed. And then as we continue to talk about all kinds of temples, earlier we mentioned about the Taoist temple and mostly, and some folk temples. And later on, I will introduce you some symbolic temples, including the Buddhist temple, Wangye temple, and Mazu Confucius temple or Wenwu temple. And why those temples are symbolic? Because as Taiwan people, they are from the Han people, and the majority of the Han people, they worship in Taoist and Buddhist. And because Taiwan is an island, and people, they need to live with the ocean. And therefore, there are two symbolic temples that is related. One is Mazu. Mazu was regarded as the god of sea, and Wang Ye is rather like the king, assigned by the heaven god, and to protect the whole region. And Mazu is god of sea, and Wang Ye in the temple that some sailors or some people in the island, they believe that if they travel or during the time when they come from mainland China 400 or 300 years ago, they have to pass the sea and then arrive Taiwan island. And therefore, a lot of disease, or we call them plague, will taking place on the way. And Wang Ye is kind of symbolize the way to cast away those kind of disease, and they will protect the healthy for people in the area. And that's why, being an island, I think Mazu Temple and also Wang Ye Temple, both of them are very symbolic. And I believe temple is important to the development of the society. And as we mentioned, it's the kind of the art center and also the center for the whole city. And later on, those big temples, they are also symbolic in terms of the location. So what are the important temples that you will know? As we mentioned earlier, there are more than 15,000 registered temples in Taiwan. And here we say it's registered, yeah, because there are some small temples or the family temples, yeah, they are not registered and it's not counted, yeah, in this number. And later I will introduce you some symbolic temples, including Foguangshan, Dajia Zhenlan Gong, and Dai Tianfu. Yeah, that is Madou Temple in Madou. And then Confucius Temple. And Confucius Temple, one is in Taichung City, and another one is in Salmon Lake. And then Five Points Temple, and also God of Literature. Yeah, very interesting. And then first of all, let's talk about the Foguangshan Temple. This is the largest Buddhist monastery in the south, in Kaohsiung. And then you will see from the two sides there are nine towers. And in each tower, they will have the different display and exhibition, and also the gods, yeah, for people to worship. We say the Buddha, yeah, and for different purpose. And they will have a tower only for children. So if you have children and then, or the young children, they want to know what to learn. If you come to a Buddhist temple, yeah, you can spend all day in this area. And then if you come from the central, and if you want to adore and worship the Buddha, is in the back of all the parts. And then in the center, it's a very popular area, and they even have Starbucks, yeah, inside the area. So in the center is the hall, and it's just like a shopping mall. But you will see on the two sides, yeah, they are different shape of Buddha for you to worship. So everyone, when people come here, yeah, they will have the very special experience. And what's more about the area? Yeah, the location we just mentioned. And then Foguang in Chinese translation, it means light of Buddha. Fo Guang, Fo is Buddha, Guang means the light. So it's the light of Buddha, and it's considered as one of the largest one, especially in the south. And this temple was founded by Master Xing Yuan. Xing Yun Dashi, he was very famous and respectful person, and who founded this area. And then the special part about this temple is the statue, yeah, the design of Buddha, and then in the back. And therefore, if you take a right from the highway, yeah, you will also see the temple from far away. And then the next one is called Dajia Mazu Temple. It's located in Taichung, and it's built in 1770. And they are very famous procession. It's called Mazu Pilgrimage Procession. And every year during maybe April, and it was the birthday we count on lunar calendar. That's Mazu's birthday. And at that time, people will bring Mazu for a pilgrimage, yeah, to the different sites of the Mazu temple in different county. And then they will spend 9 days there. So we will talk about that later. But how long are going to travel? Yeah, from Dajia, this is the temple they start. From Dajia, and then they will go for 300 kilometers journey on foot. And for people or the elder people, there are different ways to take them. They can even, on the way take a rest and then took a shuttle to the next spot. And for the very loyal or faithful believers, they will just follow, the pilgrimage, on the way for 9 days. And if they do that, they will believe. It is believed that they will have the blessing from all the way they encounter. And then I also have a friend who will kind of host those believers on the way. So they will prepare the food for thousands of people. And then it's not only, just from one family, but all the villagers, the neighborhood, they will try to prepare food, as many as they can, when they know it is almost time for them to arrive on certain spot. So if you are the followers, you don't have to carry anything. You just bring yourself, and then there will people. There will be people offering some beverage, some water, and the food on the way. And even in the evening, they will provide you some space, to take a rest. And most of the popular place for them to stay will be in the temple. In some temples, they also prepared the beds or just a space, an empty space for you to take a nap. So this is a very important process for most of the people in Taiwan if they are the Mazu believers. And then for Mazu is indigenous goddess of the sea, and it says that she was the one who saved her father and brother from the sea in her dream. And for most of the fishermen and sailors, this will be the most important gods they will worship, because it will protect them from encounter all kinds of danger when they are sailing out to the sea. And it's a very important model right now. But of course, this god does not just worshipped by the fishermen, from the past. It is right now the kind of the spirit that people adore in the traditional family as well. And you can read more stories about Mazu from either the website, and there's a lot of introduction about her life. And those legends are all similar in different way, but it might be different a little bit, in some detailed parts. And then those are the guardian of Mazu. One is was the wind ear, and the other one is the 1,000 miles eyes. So one can hear far away, and the other can see far away. And it means that the God will listen, carefully about what you need, and they can see, what you have been suffered or what you will need. And those two guardians are important images in the Mazu temple. And those two guys used to be two demons. And it was said that Mazu conquered and subdued them, and therefore they become loyal to Mazu, and they become the loyal guardian and the friends at the same time. And right now, those two are the important generals, one from the side and one from the left, one from the right. They are two important images. When you come to the Mazu temple, you will also encounter those two generals. One is hear well, one is see well. And it's good that they become the important guardian generals in the Mazu temple. As Mazu has a lot of stories, and then it is one of the important temples in Taiwan, so we will continue to talk more about the temple, in the Mazu temple. And believers, they worship and pray to Mazu like this. And then Mazu is a very small statue usually, but people come and adore her. Yeah, it's really a lot. And earlier we mentioned about the pilgrimages, and here we can have some more introduction about that part. This kind of pilgrimage is set off from Dajia every year, and then it was considered as one of the biggest Mazu pilgrimage, and the largest number, usually more than 100,000 people will follow on the way. So it's called, usually we say it's the largest number of followers who will spontaneously. Some of them do not just spend 9 days. A lot of them just follow on the way, and then they will walk together with the whole group for a while, and then you will see people coming and going all the way. And right now, cycling is also very popular in Taiwan, and so even the cycling group, the cycling groups, they will also join spontaneously to in kind of join the whole troop to get the atmosphere or to feel blessed by walking with the group. So during the whole way, they think they will be blessed. And then the routes, as we mentioned, is 9 days long, and they will follow by the path of early of immigrants, because maybe you might wonder, where do they go? And usually they will have the set location and route for them to follow, and those are the paths from the early immigrants. And so from Dajia, and then they will visit different temples in another county, and then they will spend a night over there. And a lot of the temples, they want to become the host of welcoming the goddess to come. And so sometimes they have to make the decision, clearly, and they have to make sure people can walk to the specific spot on time. And then most of the followers, they think they will receive blessing when they participate in this kind of events, and that's why it becomes so popular. And then the slide will show to you that the followers in Mazu pilgrimage are bound to walk for a long period of time. And then the slide will show to you that there are also special shoes. You will need, because it's a long trip and you need to protect your foot. And so those kind of shoes are also designed especially for the pilgrimage followers. And it's just beside the store. It's just the store beside the temple. And there are some of them in different places as well. And then the other slide is the events happening this year. As you know, we are having the COVID-19, and some of the ritual cannot just avoided or ignored. And we cannot have a group of 1,000 people get together at one spot in one time. So what can we do? Those gods still need to visit the different temples, because it's been a ritual every year. So this year, because of COVID-19, and then the gods, they take a shuttle on a bus, and they visit from one temple to another as well. And of course, after this COVID-19 situation in Taiwan was not so strong, so we actually have a good control about that. And 1 month later, there are still some very faithful followers. They want to continue this kind of ritual. So they just had another procession, a few months ago. And then this is another temple I want to introduce to you. This temple is in Tainan. It's called Ma Dou Temple, Dai Tian Fu. Dai Tian Fu means that the kings, there are 5 kings in this temple, and they are, assigned by the heaven god. and to take care of the whole people in the region. So it's also called the Five Kings Temple. And this temple was established in 1660s. And in the past time, people found this is a lucky land. You know, you can always get prosperous, or you can find your fortune in the location. And so they kind of appeal to the superiors, and it got granted that they can build the temple in this region. So they had a big construction in 1945 after the Second World War. So in the old time, they had this temple, but it was smaller. And after the reconstruction, it got bigger and bigger. And the temple was renamed. You know, in the past, they have different names. And about 300 years ago, Zheng Chenggong, who ruled the place, and they found this place a very nice site. So they established this temple. And then after that, because they continue to think this is a very good area, and then it gets people together in certain way. So this construction was required, and people, they donate money, and some people, they try to get some funding from somewhere, and by the end, they are able to reconstruct this big and beautiful temple. How big is that? You can take a look. This is inside. Yeah, it has the light we called Guangmingdeng. It's called the bright fortune lamp. If you go to the temple and you burn the incense stick, and the other thing that you will pay attention is this one. Yeah, those are the lights of people. And then usually if you want to get blessed, you will proceed and get your name writing on a piece of paper. Then you bring your name and also your birthday information to the counter. And there were people, they will help you to put your name into a small corner, and then they will have a light on it, and then you will be blessed. And then in every temple, the cost is different. In a small temple, maybe 300 NT dollars, just like 10 US dollars. And then for the other temples, maybe it's common to have 500 people, 500 NT dollars to get one light. And then if you have your name and your birthday on it, and then you have the light over there, it is believed that you will be blessed, through the whole year. And then another important issue is, it is very common when you visit a temple, there are different kinds of gods. And in this temple, they have 5 kings. And aside from the 5 kings, there are also different gods around, and including we called Dongyu Dadi, is the Emperor Dongyu, who take care of the underworld. And then there's a goddess of childbirth called Zhu Shen Liang Liang, who is in charge of the childbirth. And you will also meet the city god called Chen Huangye. Yeah, it just take care of the city and make sure everybody is treated equally. And then if you do more good deeds, then you will have some good rewards. Yeah, based on that. And then a few centuries ago, these temples have limited to public, and then they will be only available for local ministers or the city mayors. And right now it's very popular for most of the people to come, because if they make the offering to Chen Huangye, then Chen Huangye will bless you, and then will keep you safe and healthy in a way. So in this Dai Tian Fu, they are not only those 5 kings, excuse me, there are also many gods that you will encounter. So when you go, then you can be prepared that you will see many other gods worship at the site. And so this is the outlook from the front and called Ma-Do Temple. And you will see there's a hotel on the side. And this hotel can host more than 2,300 people a night. And so the gods that I just mentioned that will be worth of the visitors come and to worship, not only to know the history of those 5 kings and get to know the importance of the temple, but also later I will introduce there are something more you can see when you stay for the whole night. And the hotel are generally made for the believers or the followers and for the tourists as well, because this temple nowadays become very, very popular because they have the very special design of the dragon, and then the temple itself is very well decorated, from the roof and from the dragon pillars, and even the temple, the gods itself, they are all set very well, and then they have a route for you to go from one god to another to worship. So we will talk more about Ma-Do Temple very soon. Let's talk more about the Ma-Do Temple. As we mentioned, they have a hotel, in just next to the temple, and then this is also the design is outside the temple itself, but it's the whole region, and they have the shape of a dragon. And then the interesting part is that the dragon is the entrance. To one path is to the heaven, and the other path is to the hell. And this temple is also a tourist spot right now, and the follower, they can following the routes arranged by the temple staffs, and then visits the heaven. Or if you are interested in discovering the hell, you can also pay a visit to the hell. And so this is heaven and hell, and I do not have the picture of the hell, but I can share with you this visit to the heaven. On the stairs, that is the entrance to the heaven, and then when you walk in, you will go like a tunnel, and you will have the different figure painting on the 2 sides. Then you will visit something like heavenly God. You will meet those maybe important people that you worship before. Then you will have the chance always to come and talk to them face to face, and then you can enjoy your family life. So this is the way they kind of educate people to do the good deeds. If you do something good, then when you died, you will go to the heaven, and then in heaven, this is the happy life you might have. So it's enjoyable every day, and you can even meet your relatives, your parents, or people that you love, in heaven. So all the good images can be found in heaven. And if you are interested in visiting the hell, I think it will be interesting if you come and then you can visit by yourself. And then aside from those 2 paths, the heaven path and the hell path, they also have some paintings on the side, just out the temple courts. They have the painting like this, and they will have some educational purpose as well. Like this is the painting for a very loyal child who was successful to save people. And then another slide. also show you the other educational purpose in some of the paintings on the side of the temple. This is called 善恶分明. It's the wax figures. It says on the 4 characters, it said distinguish good from bad. Because sometimes if you have something in mind, maybe you will concern people don't understand you too much, or you don't feel well treated. You can come and ask for justice, and then those are the elders. They can let you know what's right and what is wrong. And then the other 2 are the paintings. They are also the stories. And those stories are mostly about the righteous people or the people who had practiced some good deeds. And then people will recite their good behavior afterwards. So I hope you have enjoyed knowing about the temples in Madou. And right now, let's continue of the introduction about the Confucius Temple. The Confucius Temple in Taichung was established in 1976, so it's in the very modern time. And in Taiwan, the first Confucius Temple is in Tainan, and it was established in 1965. So it was long back in almost 300 years and more. And then during that time, Zheng Chenggong, he ruled the whole region. And then he wants to use morality or teaching from Confucius, religion, and to educate people. So he started to have the Confucius Temple in Tainan, because at that time the capital was in Tainan. And then this one in Taichung is also made not too long ago. And this is a very nice singing place for you to come. And let's see what we have about the Confucius Temple in Taichung. And this is the Lingxing Gate. And Lingxing Gate is the first gate when you enter the temple, the Confucius Temple. And the gate is ordinarily closed, is usually closed. It's only open for the 试点 sacrifice. That is a special ceremony to celebrate the birthday of Confucius. And Confucius' birthday is on September 28th. So on that day, they will have the 试点 sacrifices, and there's some kind of dance and ritual, and to celebrate the birthday of Confucius. And traditionally, only the emperor or the top-ranking participants in the imperial examinations, they could enter through this gate. And right now, people, if they want to get promotion or they want to have a good exam, they will also come to the temple. And then visitors normally will enter through Perceiving Virtue Gate. And this is the gate. Perceiving Virtual Gate. This is usually open, and then people, when they want to enter the temple, they can come through this gate. And it says 台中市孔子庙. So this is the main entrance for you to go when you want to visit the Confucius Temple. And then the main route into the Confucius Temple. In old days, people had to enter an old-style school or the poor palace to learn knowledge and rights. And this way, into Confucius Temple is meant to encourage younger people to work hard in pursuit of scholarship. And then the temples here, you have Dacheng Dian. And also you have the other sides. And Dacheng Dian is the main hall, the one with the stairs, and to worship Confucius. And surrounded by the main hall, there are several halls like this that provide space for lectures. People will come there to listen for some lessons. And the main discipline are social order and relationships. And they usually have the big celebrations during the Confucius birthday, that from time to time, if the mayor or the governments, they want to have some important rituals related to Confucius teaching, they can also come and use the place. And then there are two main objects that are put in front of the gate. One is Jingzhong, and the other one is the large bell. They are put in the Great Perfection Gate, and both of them will be used during the Shi Dian Dianli. Shi Dian Dianli is what we just mentioned, a celebration for the Confucius birthday. And Shi Dian ritual was practiced only especially on that day, and you will hear the sound and also some dance during the celebration. And then this is the Halfmoon Pool. In the old time, those top-ranking participants in the imperial examinations, they will walk by this pool on the way to honor Confucius at the temple. And it was customary for the tax takers to pull up some aquatic plants and to put them on their heads, in the ritual. So they think they will bring them some luck and they can become successful in examination. And then the other side, there is a notice, for believers who are taking important exams, such as entering to the universities or going to the high schools. There is a praying instruction in front of the temple for people to follow through. And so for this year, if you are taking an exam for a different purpose, and then you can come and worship, and you will get a very good grades. And then this is the Confucius temple in Sun Moon Lake. They are very gorgeous one. And then people will come and also worship here. And then this is the outlook. And then the next session, we might talk more about the other gods in Sun Moon Lake. But Sun Moon Lake, we have the temple called Wen Wu Miao. Wen referring to Confucius, Wu referring to Guan Gong. And so later on, we will talk more about Guan Gong and give some introductions about the temples in Wen Wu Temple. This is the temple we call Wen Wu Temple. And if you look at the photo, there's an entrance door in front of it. And then if you get into, there are two red lions, and those are the very symbolic state image for this Wen Wu temple. And Wen Wu temple, as we mentioned, they are worshiping two gods. One is Guan Gong and the other is Confucius. And Guan Gong's temple is in the front, while the Confucius temple is in the back. And then another photo will show you, this is an overview from the Wen Wu temple. As you can see, a lot of temples, they will be established or built on a hill, but it's important that the face of the temple will be facing either a lake or a river or even an ocean. And for Chinese feng shui, we will see that water means fortune or prosperity. And therefore, a lot of temples, even the big families' houses, they will prefer to have the face into the sea or the water. And then in the back, it will be good to have the mountain, because mountain will become the protection of the whole area. And this Wen Wu temple in Sun Moon Lake is in a very good location. So all the people, when they either take the ferry to stop by, they can come and worship the two gods. And then in the front, there's a big court for people. And then there are some big festivals and activities like the lion dance, performance will be there when people go for the special festivals or celebrations. And then the first, you will encounter Guan Gong. And as you can see from the Chinese character, if you can read, it means 忠义千秋. Actually, it shows why Guan Gong is worshipped. And then the second one is the Confucius Temple. And in Chinese, it says 万世师表, means he is the teacher that people adore or worship. And therefore, all the teachers, when they come and they want to be like Confucius, so that they will be remembered about their teaching. And so during the birthday of Confucius, there will be a lot of activities. And then like September 28th is Confucius' birthday, and in Taiwan is also Teacher's Day. Yeah, just because people want to memorize Confucius. And then let's have an introduction about Guan Gong. Guan Gong is one of the best-known Chinese historical figures throughout the East Asia. And Guan Yu, this is Guan Gong, is a kind of respectful name for that. He is the saint of war. So Guan Yu is a general under the warlord Liu Bang during the late Eastern Han Dynasty and the Three Kingdoms era of China. And he played a significant role in the civil war that led to the collapse of the Han Dynasty. So he is a very brave warrior, and he fight for Liu Bang to protect the kingdom. And also he established the kingdom of Shu, that is during the Han Dynasty. So the Liu Bang was he's a very good king, and therefore he has some warriors, they will fight for him. And Guan Yu is one of them. And Guan Yu is sometimes called the Taoist god of war, as he is one of the most well-known military general in Chinese history. And in general worship, Guan Yu is widely referred as the Emperor Guan, so we call him Guan Gong as a respectful name. He is respected as the epitome of loyalty and righteousness. And also, Guan Yu is a traditional portrayed as the red face. Yeah, if you look into the face, it's red. It doesn't mean that he's, in a fugue or very angry. It's just the way he looks. And because of the appearance, people can recognize Guan Gong easily because his red face and with the long, large beard, and often carrying a weapon. And the weapon is called the Green Dragon Crescent Blade, Guan Dao. And therefore, when people look at the statue, they can recognize that is Guan Yu. And the idea of his red face could have been borrowed from the opera presentation. Maybe he doesn't really look that red, but people will have that impression. And the red face depicts loyalty and righteousness. So it's also a way for people to remember this important person. And then Wenwu Temple in the Salmon Lake, this is the rear part. They worship Confucius. And because we have a lot of introduction already when we talk about the Confucius Temple in Taichung, and therefore I think if you come to the place, then you can have a very better look because the operation and management is different from the one that we have in Taichung. Yeah, in this Wenwu Temple, you will meet the Confucius, his face here, and then there are his disciples on the other side. And therefore, it will be interesting to see the different disciples that are the followers of Confucianism. And then this is outside the Wenwu Temple. Those are the blessing words that people left before or after they worship Confucius Temple or the Guanggong Temple, because this is the place that people can write down their wish. And usually, if they are the exam taker, and they will write about maybe they are hoping to get into a very good college, and if people they are looking for promotion or career, maybe they can have some words of hope. and they can hang on the side, and it's the way to pray for the good fortune afterwards. And then right now, let's introduce two other famous and interesting temples. Those temples are very different from the one we just introduced in the previous sessions because they are rather small, but it's very particularly referring to different kind of needs. And like Wu Fei Miao is the temple of the 5 concubines. And this is a very special temple. They worship the 5 concubines instead of the very famous emperors or very respectful warriors. And another one is Kuei-xin. Kuei-xin is god of literature, and people will come and worship in order to get a very good result in their academic performance. So let's first talk about the temple of the 5 concubines. Yeah, this is a small temple located in Tainan, and then people come here for just a visit because this place has been a tourist spot right now, and it's very quiet and very pure. If you get in, you have to follow the daytime. Now they open like 8 in the morning and they close at 5 in the evening. So it's just like a small museum. And this is the imperial concubines. According to the records, when Ming Dynasty, they want to take over the whole place. And the king was forced, he died because of the war. And then those 5 concubines, yeah, they prefer to stay, and then they want to follow the king who died. And therefore, 5 of them, they commit suicide. And people just respect their loyalty and faithfulness, yeah, to the king. And so after they died, people buried them in the back of the hill. And so if you come to the temple, you will see there are 5 of them worshipped by people. But in the back, there is a tomb, and that is the body of those 5 concubines. And if you look carefully into the place, then you will see not only the 5 concubines were adored by people, but also they display some of the history in it. And you can read them through carefully to know the story of those 5 concubines, and also how this temple was built. And then aside from that, you can also visit when you walk in the garden. There's a general in the side under a tree that is worshipped by others. And this general was told to be very faithful to those 5 concubines. So when they died, he stayed there for a while to make sure that the place was not ruined by outsiders. And so people want to memorize this general, and they also made a small temple for people to worship. And so come to this interesting museum, you can see the structure of this small temple in the countryside. At the same time, you get a glance of the story of the site in Tainan City. Yeah, Tainan used to be the temple, the capital during the Ming Dynasty. And then when Qing Dynasty, they ruled the place, and they kind of move from other place. But basically everything, the developments will start is from the south of Taiwan instead of the north. So it's interesting to know we have the first temple of Confucius temple in Tainan as well. So Tainan actually is the starter of all the civilization of Taiwan. And then right now let's talk about the god of literature. Yeah, in Chinese we called Kuei-xin. Yeah, in Taiwanese folk religion, Kuei-xin is one of the gods that is in charge of exams, promotion, career, and study. So it's really hard to know that the other gods, they all have their own duties. And this god here, his duty is in charge of all the promotion. And so for the exam takers or for some businessmen, maybe this will be the place they want to come and visit. And I remember the time that I visit the place, there's a group of high school students. Yeah, they all come online, and even the students from Japan, they also come and visit this place. And because this god is famous for the exams, and so a lot of young people would really like to know how the temple is decorated. And so the story about this creation, let's take a look. Yeah, is that he is the name of a star. Yeah, the star in heaven, and it's the first star of the Big Dipper, and so we call is the leader of the stars. So Kui is like the first, the beginner, the head, and so we call it Kui Xin. And Kui Xin, this kind of religion start from the Song Dynasty, but later on, a lot of the people related to literature, they think he is the lucky god, and therefore people continue to build the statue and worship him, starting from maybe 1600s. And then this kind of religion was also immigrated is also coming to Taiwan because of the immigration. And then like in Taiwan, a lot of people want to become in the higher status. They usually need to take exams. And if you pass the very good exam, then you are able to work in the public, in the government. And therefore, this statue was also very important to be seen in Tainan area. And then aside from Kui Xin, there are also another 5 gods of literature for you to know. And those 5 gods are in charge of the different duties. And they are Wenchang Dijun, Guansheng Dijun, Zhuyi Dijun, Kui Xin Dijun, Fuyou Dijun. Kui Xin, the 4th one is just the one we just introduced. And actually, a lot of temples you will see in different cities or in the countryside, they have a lot of Wenchang Dijun, Wenchang Miao, Wenchang temple everywhere. But it's hard to see Kui Xin Miao, just like we just introduced. But all the 5 gods of literature, even though it's all related to literature, but they actually have different kind of duties. For example, Wenchang, he is the head of the god of literature, because if you want to get in a very high position in a famous place, this will be the place you should come and visit. And then for Kui Xin, he's the head of the 5 diapers, and therefore most of the young people, yeah, they will come and ask for the luck to get the good grades and enter the good universities. So I hope to introduce those 5 gods of literature to you, and maybe one day if you come to Taiwan, or if you have been to Taiwan already, and then you can try to get to know all of them and to see the difference. And I think it will be an interesting adventure for you. So thank you for taking this course, and I hope I have introduced you the very clear idea about the symbolic temples we have in Taiwan and how temples are important as part of life in Taiwan. And I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for taking this course. This is 2 hours class. In this class, you will learn about the development of tea industry in Taiwan. Taiwan produces the best tea, I believe. There are more than 7,000 tea houses in Taiwan. Only count for those that are registered. Yeah, there are a lot of tea houses they didn't register, but they can still sell tea. And then those registers are recorded in our Ministry of Finance in Taiwan. So 17,000 tea houses. Yeah, the number is much more than the convenience stores. Yeah, and if you visit Taiwan before, you will find the convenience store almost in every corner. And it means that right now there are more tea houses. And you can see it's a big industry. And can you imagine that people in Taiwan drink up 50 billion NT dollars a year? How much is that? Well, that is equal to 1.7 billion US dollars. What a big industry. Think about it. There are 23 million people in Taiwan, and so it means that every person in Taiwan spends at least 7 US dollars just in tea. So you will see and know why tea is so important. And before we start, let's know how much you know. Let's see how much you know about Taiwan. So there are 5 sentences. What is true about Taiwan? I hope you will get them right. Yeah, first, Taipei is the capital city. I believe everyone will get this right. Yeah, because Taipei sometimes represent Taiwan, even though we don't like that, but still people, when they think about Taiwan, they only know Taipei. And so people will know Taipei is the capital city. And then the second statement, it snows in winter. What do you think? Yeah, we got snows, but only in the high mountain in winter. Most of the time in 4 seasons, even in the very cold weather, we don't have snow in the plain. Yeah, even in Taipei City and in other places, we don't see snows. And so only in the high mountain. And the important to point out this is it's all related to tea, and you will see later. And then the third point, Taiwan is an island. Yeah, I think everybody knows this one, right? Yeah, it's an island, and for us it's not small. And to be an island is important in geography to produce the very good tea. And so, yes, it's important to know Taiwan is an island. And then the fourth point, Taiwan exports more tea than imports. I believe this one will be a bit difficult for most of people. Yeah, the statement could be true and false. Yeah, because in Taiwan we actually export tea back in 1920s until maybe 1930s during the Japanese colonization. And so at that time we actually export more tea. And then right now, because town people, as we just mentioned in the beginning, the need and the demand for tea in Taiwan become much, much bigger. And then it's part of people's life nowadays. And so we actually import, yeah, a lot of tea from abroad. So the fourth point could be yes and no. And the last one, black tea was found in Taiwan. This one may difficult as well. Well, actually, the best black tea was not founded in Taiwan. It was imported from the Southeast Asia. But we do have some black tea in hills, not in the very high mountain. We have the wild tea leaves and trees, but people do not really use them because they found a better tea from other places. So they import the seed from other area to Taiwan. But because Taiwan has the good environment, so we grow the very good black tea afterwards. So I hope you got some of the idea about Taiwan and about how tea can be an industry in Taiwan through the 5 questions. So let's get started. And another question for you. Which one is Chinese style? I think this one is pretty easy. Yeah, those are the 2 photos taken in the National Palace Museum in the south, not in Taipei. Yeah, we have 2 National Palace Museum here right now in Taiwan. One in the north, Taipei. One is in Jiayi. And this one is taking place in the south. And those are the 2 settings, and you can tell which one is the Chinese version and which one is Japanese style. Well, tea appreciation is the Chinese style, and of course, the one with the table, is necessary because people, when they drink tea, they like to talk with people, and sometimes they want to do the artwork, and sometimes they will just read. And so it's common for people to drink tea, from the table. And the other part is the one taking place in Japan because it's also an art for them, and they will make tea on a tatami. And so one is Chinese style, another one is Japanese style. And tea appreciation is our lifestyle, and it's a fashion, and it's also an art and a culture. And tea originated in China, but the methods of tea making have undergone centuries of changes, and the way people enjoy making tea or tasting tea gradually developed through the equipment and also the manner. And therefore, right now in Japan, there's cha dao, but in Taiwan, there will be an art of tea, ping cha, feng cha. Yeah, there are different way of appreciation to the tea. And Japanese tea ceremony also was developed and become very important part in Japan. And also for drinking tea in Taiwan, it became a part of people's life. And it's important for business, and it's also important for friends chatting. And so today we talk about the tea and then how the process is going. And then tea drinking can trace back far away, but we can talk about it from the records that we have. And those are showing the different time or period in Tang, Song, Ming, Qin, those four different dynasties. And the slide will just tell you the difference and also the process of tea making. And in Tang and Song dynasty is very similar. At that time, they have the tea cake. Yeah, they kind of put the tea into a piece. And so when they need to drink the tea, they will bake them or they will crush them, and so that they can still have the tea leaves to be granted into the tea powder. And after that, of course, the hot water is always necessary during the time. And in Tang and Song dynasty, they will put the powder into a bowl, and then they will cook them, or we say boil them, and after that they will drink it. But in Ming and Qin dynasty, there is a little bit difference, especially in Ming dynasty. They do not use the tea cake anymore. Yeah, they will boil the water first, and then they will just pick up some tea leaves into a bowl, and then they will pour the tea into the teapot. And when we drink tea, we use the cup in Ming dynasty. But while in Qin dynasty, you will pour the tea into a bowl, and then you have the lid to cover the tea bowl. And so from the past until now, you will see people are drinking tea in different ways. And people pay attention to the equipment of those tea making during the time from Tang until Qin, especially in Qin dynasty, because they were a group of people from the western parts to the central of Han, and therefore the way they drink the tea will be different. In the past, when you drink tea, you might add something to it, so you will drink them from the bowl. But in Qin dynasty, they try to combine the tea drinking together with their own tradition. So sometimes they will put some milk, into the tea, become the milk tea. And this is just some slides showing from the past until now. But today in Taiwan society, we still preserve this kind of tradition of tea ceremony, basically most from Fujian and Guangdong. If you have the chance to listen to our another introduction about the immigration, then you know the majority of the immigrant people to Taiwan are from Fujian and also Guangdong area. And so when those people, they bring the tea culture to Taiwan, and then we will follow this kind of tradition. So in general, we call it the Han people. We are also part of the Han people, Taiwanese people. And so in Taiwan, because it's another culture, so even though we have those kind of historical way, traditional way of tea making, and we preserve some of them, and we still keep some of them in our own way, and it's the integration of the two. So right now in Taiwan, we have our own way of tea appreciation and tea drinking. And if you look at the location of the tea, and you will see why Taiwan is so important. We call that Taiwan is heart of Asia because from the north you see Japan and South Korea, and then to the south you see the Philippines. And the big country, China, is in the west. So a lot of the information and also the way people drinking tea will be from China. And the seeds of tea were brought from India to the Southeast Asia. However, the green tea and also the famous tea plants were brought to Taiwan during the immigration period. And lots of people in China, when because they all have the habit of drinking tea, as we mentioned from a long time ago, Song, and also Ming, and then Tang Dynasty. So back to maybe 15th century, and then when people come to Taiwan, and Taiwanese people started to have this kind of habits of drinking tea, and it's just like the Western people drinking coffee. I think it's the same idea. And starting from 1920s, Japanese people, they found Taiwan, they could produce a very good quality of tea. And basically, because of the quality we developed is better than the one they can have in the cold area. So later we will talk about that part. If you know a little bit about the history of Taiwan, you know that Japanese people, they colonized Taiwan starting from 1885, and then until 1920s, they found that Taiwan can produce the very good quality of tea, and they were very happy about this kind of discovery. And gradually, the demand of growing tea leaves are becoming important for them. And so they started to grow the good quality of the tea leaves, and then import them back to Japan and other countries as well. Now, at this time, we import more, as we just mentioned, because of the demand of Taiwanese people to drink tea is bigger and bigger. So we also import tea leaves from Southeast Asia. And then due to the good quality green tea and black tea, in recent 3 years, we export tea to mainland China, USA, and Hong Kong, not too far away from each other. But those are the people, they also have the good and big demand about tea. And tea industry is one of the most important agricultural industry in Taiwan because the demand is getting bigger. Not only the people in Taiwan, we have the habits of drinking tea, but also because we have a good quality of tea, and then people from the other countries, they started to export the import to have the tea to transmit to their own country. And so I have the record, from our governments that in our tea culture or the tea industry, the value of the tea industry is 6.7 billion. So if you include the extra value of the tea industry in general, such as the tea house and tourism, and the different way and everything related. For drinking tea is 6.7 billion, but if you add the others all together, so the value of the tea industry in general is more than 30 billion NT dollars. 30 billion NT dollars. Wow. So it's really, really a big industry in Taiwan. And then why Taiwan can have a very good quality of tea, and I think this slide will show you the reason. Taiwan produced the best tea. I think the geography of the island helps a lot. The tea farm can be found in those areas, as you can see in those yellow color and as well as the earth color. And those are the places that you can find the very good quality of tea. And tea usually grows in the altitude of 600 to 800 meters up in a hill. Yeah, the fertile soil and also the basin in geography has really helped the growth of the tea. And because the place is usually warm and humid at the same time, so together with the profound rainfall, and the area usually surrounded by cloud and mist, and furthermore, the sunlight hours are shorter, and so the leaves can really grow very well. And as you can tell, most of the tea farms is on a hill, and the good part is that the water will not preserve by the earth because it will flow to the lower area. And so the high mountain, they got enough moist, humid, and they also have the warm temperature, and therefore the tea trees can grow very well at the time. And I think because of that, the climate of Taiwan is suitable to cultivate the tea tree, and the tea merchants brought the tea seeds and produced the method from the southern Fujian. So we know the way, and we have the good skill to make the tea, and then with the good tea leaves together with the good skill, we can produce the best tea in Taiwan. And so right now, let's see where you can see the farm. So this is the tea farm, and from the shape and the way people plant the tea, then you can understand the importance of that. And then because there are different types of tea and different kind of way to carry out, and also the geography factors, and all the ways that you produce and then you make will make the tea different. Sometimes you can have black tea and you can have the green tea. It's all in terms of fermentation. And because the level of fermentation are different, people are taking the tea in different way. And some of them think that the tea will help you to calm down, and then it's good for your health. And some of them will take the tea as the medicine to ease their own stomach or to keep them feel young. And then because of the advance of the economy, and a lot of young people, they always do not want to spend a lot of time making tea. They prefer the fast way to drink tea. So the rapidness and also the speed make the tea industry into something that is also welcomed by young people. That is the something you will find in the tea house. So the convenience way to have the tea were also available in Taiwan. However, for a lot of people, they think drinking tea should be an art. So they want to use the traditional way to drink tea. So when people, they come to the tea house, it really depends on individual needs. For young people, they get a cup of tea and they grab it and they go. And then for some people, they prefer the leisure way to do it. They will come to a traditional tea house and then to appreciate the tea and have the time sit down together with their friends and chat and talk. And for some businessmen, you know, when they talk about business, they will invite the merchants to their home, and then while they were talking, they were drinking tea together. And for sometimes it will be a good place for social. So there are very different ways for people to enjoy the tea in Taiwan. So let's start to talk about the tea farm. Yeah, in the previous slide, you see the tea was grown in a hill, and then because of the good environment and the climate, it helps to make a good tea. And this is the tea house near the Salmon Lake. And then from the part we can also learn the difference of the black tea. And this is also the tourist spot for people. And that is they have the tea farm, and they have a factory, and they have the process of produce the black tea for people, and they will teach you how to make the black tea. And here is the short introduction of the black tea in Taiwan. And from the introduction, you will know this is the location of this black tea history, starting from the middle of Taiwan in the Salmon Lake. And then because in the central area of Taiwan, they are mostly the hill or the high mountains. And as we just mentioned previously, that the best tea were produced or will be provided in the altitude of 600 to 800, and therefore the place like the Salmon Lake, yeah, the altitude is similar like to 600 something, so they produce a very good tea. And the black tea, they even though we call them black tea, but actually they are different types of black tea, and start from maybe 1920s. Yeah, this place they started to grow the tea, and so originally they have the place inherited by the Japanese people, and so they still keep the old tradition, the way that Japanese people bake the tea, and also they have learned the different fermentation to make the tea flavor to be different. So gradually they provide the different kind of tea based on the tea leaves. And this is the factory next to the store we just seen. And then from this black tea factory, they can cool down and also let the tea leaves dry a little bit before going for the fermentation. And later we will also show you how people produce the good quality of black tea. And this is the tea farm next to it. As you can see from the back, it's still the high mountain, but in this area, this is the place people can pick up the tea leaves. And then for the tea leaves, there are different timing, different seasons. We have Chun Cha, the spring tea, and we also have the Dong Cha, the winter tea. And spring tea, it means that it grows during the springtime when we have a lot of rainfall in springtime, like in March, and later on in May. But the tea, they will be harvested during March to May. At that time, they will get the very good quality of the tea leaves. And they will let them dry for a little bit, and sometimes if it's a very good and productive, prosperous tea farming areas, the village sometimes will have the competitions, yeah, about the tea leaves. So if you can produce the best tea, you can come for the contest. And so there will be time for people to do that for the springtime. And there are also tea leaves in winter. And in winter time, the harvest time will be before the Chinese New Year. Chinese New Year usually takes place in late January or in the mid of March. And so there will be a time for people to get the tea leaves, and they will let them dry about for a few days, and then they will work from 24 hours, in order to produce the very good quality of tea at that time. And then they can have another contest to make sure that they can produce the best quality of tea. So when you come and buy the tea leaves, you can ask them, are the tea leaves harvest in springtime or in the winter time? The taste will be a little bit different because the winter tea that is produced or product was growing during the dry season. So most of the moisture are captured just during the morning dew, and so the leaves will be smaller. However, if you are the spring tea that is harvested after the Chinese New Year, the leaves will be bigger, and usually the flavor will be different because that is the most of the time we have a lot of rainfalls. And of course, it depends on the skill of the way they process the tea, and it also depends on the skill they make the fermentation to develop the tea flavor. And so there's a lot of skills and requirements in order to make the good quality of tea. However, the tea grows in Taiwan in the hill are always good quality. And let's talk about the tea leaves later. So this is the tea farm in the local area. And then this is the big leaf of black tea. And you can see the shape of the tea leaves. And when people, they come to the farm place, they need to learn how to pick up the tea. So the first step is to picking the right spots. You will see there are triple of them. And we will say 一心两叶 means one is the central, like the heart, and then the two small leaves on the two sides. And that is the way we pick up the tea leaves. And then the standard of picking the tea leaves is we call one bud and then two leaves. Yeah, we just mentioned. And then the big leaf black tea, the tea trees can be classified into small leaf variety and big leaf variety. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And in Taiwan, the big leaf variety is the only planted in Salmon Lake. So when you come to this area, you will see the tea leaves like this. Yeah, it's rather a big leaves instead. And then the aroma of the big leaf is much fuller and mellower than the small leaf. So you can see just from one shape, and then it's as big as your hands. And most of the time, if you go a little bit north in Taiwan, you will see maybe the leaf will be smaller, just like the finger. Yeah, maybe smaller than your finger. And if you buy the tea, and they usually dry them already, but if you make the tea, they will come out. Then you will see the real shape of the tea leaves. And then this is the rolling tea leaves part. When you look at the picture and then the leaves like that, it usually keep indoor and dry inside, not out in the sun. You have to dry them indoor, and then this kind of tea leaves maybe has been already through one night. And then when you pick up the tea, you do not just roll them right away. Usually you will let it dry inside for maybe a few hours, and it will be good if you take about 7 hours. And then after that, you can start to roll them. And then when you roll them, according to, we were told that usually right now they don't use the hand to roll the leaves, but because this is the way to experience the rolling tea leaves in the old time, so we can have this kind of opportunity to learn. But right now, in the modern time, people dry or they roll the leaves by machine. And if you use machine, it will take about 2 hours. And can you guess how long it will take by hand? Longer or shorter? Yeah, if you come and experience the tea rolling, and then people ask you to roll for 2 hours, will you do that? Maybe you will feel it's too tiresome. So yes, you are right. Just like washing clothes, it's faster if you wash it by yourself. and it will take longer by machine. And rolling tea leaves is the same. It takes longer by machine. It takes 2 hours rolling process, and gradually make sure all the leaves were rolled, at the same time. So it would take longer. However, when you use your hands to roll the tea, and it actually only takes about 15 minutes until 20 minutes. Yeah, you have to make sure when you roll the leaves, you do not destroy or you do not make out all the liquid or inside the leaves. You will make them turn into a circle like the picture shows to you. Of course, we are not experts, but it will just take time. You roll and then you make sure they are in a good position, and then all the leaves must keep the same shape or similar shapes. And so when you roll, you have to move all the leaves into your hands, and you roll in this way. So we will show you how to roll the tea. And later we will do that. And this is the original tea. Yeah, in this original tea in general, we have two ways to brew the tea. One takes the shorter time, another one takes longer time, but more relaxing. Today we will go with the longer time brewing way. Here is the 8 grams of the black tea leaves, and the tea pot is about 400 meters, and the ratio is like 1 gram of the tea leaves to 50 meters of water, and the temperature of the tea water is 100 degrees Celsius. And then it will bring out your, to take and measure 2 minutes, and then you can review the tea and 3 minutes for each time. So like the cup that you are having, it's just 8 grams of the black tea, and then the water, just like a cup tall, so it's like a 400 meters, and therefore just 5 grams of the black tea, you can make a very good quality of the tea for you to drink. And this is the original tea. And then how do you eat or drink it? You usually will come up with some dessert. Yeah, the dessert is usually a little bit sweet, because the tea itself doesn't have doesn't have any sugar in it. Tasty, but if you come up with some desserts, then that is the way to appreciate the beautiful and the flavor of the black tea at that time. We will teach you how to roll the tea, and so this is the process people will do. This is the way to roll. You see, you roll all the tea into your hands, and you kind of roll and roll and roll. And of course, when you are doing the rolling, actually there have been 2 processes done before you do the rolling leaves. One is plucking. As we mentioned, you pluck, one in the central, 1 bud and 2 leaves. That is the major way to pick up the tea leaves. And then you have the withering, let it dry indoor for a night. So the second step will be the withering. So after picking up the leaf, let it dry, and after that you do the rolling. And rolling is just like the video showed to you. You roll the leaves and you make sure all the leaves are rolled carefully by your hands. And of course you cannot press on it. You just gradually roll and roll. And for the hands, it takes about 15 minutes to accomplish the tea leaves to be ready to be dried. And then, of course, in the past, they sometimes will use the fire to dry them. But right now, people will use the machine instead. And they will dry the tea leaves, and it won't take long. They just have to measure the right temperature, and it won't be too hot, because you don't want to burn it. And therefore, for drying, it's like 60 to 80, that kind of degrees C and Celsius, then you can make a very good tea afterwards. And then when you dry the tea, before you dry the tea, you have to tell all the leaves were rolling carefully, and then so that they will be equally in the same portion when you want to drink it. And then after rolling, it comes drying part. And after the drying, the last part is the most important. That is called fermentation. After rolling is the fermentation, and after fermentation is drying. Sorry. And fermentation will take, certain time. It depends on how much you want the tea to be fermented. Usually for the black tea, a lot of them is 100% fermentation. But very good quality tea, like the green tea, sometimes it would take like 70% fermentation. And the fermentation, after the fermentation, if you dry them, the color can tell what kind of tea leaves are those tea from. For example, the one that we show in this video, that is the tea called Asamu. Asamu tea usually is more than 90% fermentation. And so it will be very good flavor, and the taste is deeper. And then, of course, the black tea can keep longer, because usually if you make the tea, then it will be still good in 1 year. But it will be good if you can finish the tea like in 3 months. So right after you make the tea, do not drink it right away. Usually it will be good if you let it out there dry. After drying, you just keep it for like 3 months, and then you will enjoy the best tea. And after you dry them, the way to test the tea is just like the previous slide that we showed to you. Just like this. You just need like 8 grams of the tea leaves, and then you pour about 400 grams of water, and then of course the boiled water, and then the flavor of the tea leaves will come out. And look at the cup, we still have the tea leaves under. So actually you don't need a big portion of the tea leaves, then you can make a very good and tasty tea for yourself to drink. And remember, when you drink the black tea, always bring something back to yourself. It will be very helpful when you do that. Tea has been an important drink to Han people for a long time. Drinking tea makes people feel relaxed, and also will make people feel pleasant because of the unique aroma, and also the special flavor and the taste. Tea has been reported to have refreshing, calming, and health benefits. And that's why tea is important to people in Taiwan. And people drink tea for different occasions, and we can talk about a few of them. One of them, in the past, we have a kind of tea called Baozhong Cha. And young people, they love to drink this kind of tea because Baozhong, the name has the implication of achieving something. And therefore, it's very popular for young people because when they drink this kind of Baozhong Cha, they are able to achieve very good performance, even in their academic performance, or when they are pursuing a career. Yeah. And another occasion will be during the wedding. The bride will offer, tea to the groom's parents. And then it's the way to respect them and to show them that in the future they will become a family. And then the third occasion will be that when people, they are offering tea when they pray or when they worship in the temple. And it is the way to, offering the gods, and then they are hoping to get some blessing from the God after the worship. And that is the third kind of occasion. And there's also very common for people to prepare some good tea at home when they have the people or their friends or guests visit to the house. And then for businessmen, it's also very important because a good tea can make people feel calm down and relaxed. And then it will be a very good opportunity to talk about business. And if you have a very good tea, your guests or your customers will stay longer, and then it will be easier to make a good deal in business. So drinking tea is also very popular when people talk about business. And then another is that tea is a very good beverage to go with the meals or dessert. And later on, we will introduce some part of tea, and so that what kind of tea is the good, company for certain kind of meals. And then the later part, we will also talk about how tea became an art, especially the way of making tea. And to make good tea, become a tea master. Yeah, those are all the way of appreciation of the tea as an art. And then this is a very interesting slide showing you about the flavor wheel. And the tea flavor wheel was developed by Tea Research and Extension Station of the Council of Agriculture in Taiwan. And then scholars, they found that when people look at the tea leaves, maybe they do not really know how to distinguish the difference. And therefore, from this wheel, people can recognize the flavor or maybe the taste of the black tea. And this one was also very common used in the tea shop. And so look at this slide. There are 6 kinds of tea, and actually it's based on the tea wheels. And so they have the difference of the colors. And then later I will also give a short introduction about what are the difference between those 6 types of tea. Those tea are popular in Salmon Lake. So when you visit, the very sightseeing place in central of Taiwan, you might have the chance to visit our Salmon Lake. And then basically for this kind of black tea, there are 2 types. But many stores, they try to add different flavors. And so you might have different kind of tea when you find in the tea shop. And the first one is the classic Assam black tea. And you can also find Jaipuri black tea, Camellia ruby black tea, Oak Trees emerald black tea. And the 5th one, jade black tea. And the 6th one, rose quartz black tea. And then let's talk about those tea. From maybe the slide, and you can see they have the different kind of test to point out and to make you know the difference between the test of each tea. So F's test usually referring to what kind of flavor left in your throat. And then some tea, they tend to be sweetness, some of them a little bit bitter, and some of them strong or fragrant. And then for this classic Assam black tea, that is very, very popular, one of the most popular in Salmon Lake in the center of Taiwan. And this tea, you will get the aroma of caramel and malt, and most of the black tea does. And when you look at the chart, and you will know that it's kind of in the middle in terms of sweetness, bitterness, or strong or fragrant. So when you get this kind of tea, then generally you feel very smooth. And then you can also see the next one. It's called Jaipuri black tea. And this tea seed was, immigrated from India. And in India, the place to find this tea is called Jaipur. And in Taiwan, we call this is Jaipuri black tea. And as the slide shows, you can tell it's rather strong compared to Assam tea we just introduced earlier. And aside from the aroma of caramel, malt, you also have the taste of the orchid. And so its strongness will be strong, but the other parts just in the median. And this is the ruby black tea. You know, this black tea, you can see after test, that is a very clear fragrance left. And so, aside from that, maybe a little bit bitter and also sweetness. So compared to the previous two types of tea, you will get the aroma of fruit and honey instead. So this is very comfortable tea when you drink it. And the quality is very small. And that's why you got the name called ruby. Because when you produce this kind of tea, usually the amount or the quantity is less and it's more precious. And that's why you get the name of ruby as the name of this black tea. And then the next one is called rose quartz black tea. And drinking this tea, you will get the aroma of citrus and pomelo. And then from the chart, you will tell it's fragrant. Yeah. After you drink the tea, the fragrancy of the taste will still keep in your mouth, in your throat. And also the sweetness. Yeah, you can get the feeling of sweet because it has, you know, pomelo, those kind of fruits taste inside the tea. And this is similar taste to oolong tea. If you have the chance to drink oolong tea as well, this kind of black tea has very close taste when you drink it. And then the next tea we want to introduce to you is emerald black tea. And when you look at the title emerald, yeah, actually it's referring to the tea trees that is rather mature, and it will get the aroma of flowers. Aside from the fruit, you will still have another taste, and therefore it's less bitter and it's not strong. Much more is upper when you see the sweetness or the aftertaste. And people bring this kind of tea to Taiwan also from India. But there's a story about how people bring back this kind of black tea from India, because this tea was popular during 1920 something. And during the 1920s, Taiwan was still under the colonization of Japan. So Japanese people, their businessmen, had some visit to India, and they found this kind of black tea tastes very well. And therefore, they want to bring the seed back home and to Taiwan. And then they try to put the seed inside the walking stick. And that's how they carry the seed back to Taiwan at that time. So it was very popular at that moment. And because of the taste, it's more popular for elders. So a lot of people will love this kind of tea, especially for people in the older age. And then the next tea is called jade black tea. This tea you will get the aroma of cinnamon and mint. And so you will see from the slide is fragrant and also strong. And then the other part about sweetness or aftertaste is medium size. And this kind of tea, because it has cinnamon and mint flavor, and therefore a lot of people will love to drink this kind of tea after you taste something very strong during the meal. For example, in Taiwan, if you like to eat chicken nugget, and maybe you think the taste is too strong, and then it will be good for you to have jade black tea as a company, because it can clear the flavor, and then it will be ready for enjoying the next dish. So remember jade black tea. And then this is the some slide and photos showing to you that when we got international students coming, they will learn how to roll the leaves and to make good tea. And you can know it's a very interesting experience. And then the next slide will also showing to you that people are experiencing tea testing. Yeah, when you know the different types of tea, and of course it will be always nice for people to have some test and get to know the difference of the tea from the different areas. And then we want to kind of give you a review about why Taiwan can produce the very good tea in general. So the ideal temperature for the tea tree to grow is around 15 to 25 Celsius degrees. And therefore, like Taiwan, you have this kind of climate and geography is very ideal, because if the temperature is more than 10 degrees Celsius, and the tea bud will stop growing. And on the opposite, if the temperature is too high, up to 30 degrees, and then the tea trees will grow too fast, and the leaves will become old very easily. And therefore, the ideal time will be during the harvest time, will be like in springtime or fall, and on a hill, where at that time, the tea leaves can grow in a very good size and very good taste. And to have the humidity around 80 to 90 is also ideal, because at that time that a lot of moistures will be captured by the tea leaves, and then they can grow very well. And like in Taiwan, we have very good earth, it's fertile soil, and then they can help the growing of the tea trees. And so this is why to have this kind of climate and also geographic benefits, we can produce the very good tea. And aside from that, another important reason to produce the good tea or to make good tea, also you need a very good technology. So in Taiwan, we also have a very good, excellent technology in tea processing. And that's why earlier that I mentioned about the part when you got the tea leaves, you dry them and you have them made. And after the processing, then you can make the different types of green tea, and it will be ready for people to enjoy. And so I hope it will help you to know more about Taiwan, especially the tea industry. And later on, we will talk about the art of tea. As we have mentioned earlier, that people in Taiwan drink tea on different occasions. And we also talk about how the climate and the geography in Taiwan helps the tea tree to grow. And also we mentioned about the very good technology on tea processing. And there is one more factor to let people know why the tea industry in Taiwan is so important. And this is why we are going to talk about the art of tea, because making tea is an art. And then people will have the different display when people drink tea in different kinds of occasions. And this is also, later we'll talk about the tea shops. And so all the process will be introducing to you about the art of tea and the art of tea making, the setup, and also introduce some traditional and modern tea shops. And first of all, let's talk about this one. This is one kind of examples of the setup of tea making. And this kind of display is very normal. As you can see that people might have the different way of setting up the table. But you can always find that there's a flower, on it. And that is, this kind of arrangement will make the table to be more poetic, and people will enjoy, every statement and every step of people who are trying to make the good tea. And maybe from the names, then you can know the function and the usage of those equipments. You have the tea candy, and you have the tea pick and tea scoop. And of course, for the tea making part, you have the teapot and the hot water to be ready. And that is one picture over there. And then tea testing cups and saucers. And then something worth to mention is about the tea scoop. Yeah, when you buy a bag of tea, and then you will put some portion into the tea caddy, and then inside the tea caddy, you may have the tea to stay in it for a few days on. Some tea that you can put into the teapot. And then on the other side, when you have the tea on the tea scoop, when you have the tea leaves on the scoop, then you can, on one sense, you can observe the appearance of those tea leaves. And then you will use the tea pick to pour some of the tea into the teapot. And that is one of the usage of this tea pick. And another usage for this tea pick is that when some of the tea leaves stay inside the teapot sprout, then you will try to clean, the tea sprout. And some of the stem, a little bit of stem, you can clear them. Also, you will be using this tea pick. And for the teacups and the saucer, that is during the time you are offering tea to your guests or your friends, and it will be a polite way to do. And one more thing worth to mention is the fairness picture. And that picture is the place that you can put, you can pour the tea inside. So when you make the tea and it's ready on the teapot, you will firstly pour all the tea into the pitcher. Because if you keep the hot water inside the teapot, and the tea leaves will be soaked inside. And in order not to make the tea become bitter, and a lot of time people will try to pour out the tea from the teapot into the pitcher. And so this is one of the example. And let me show you other examples of people, display their tea table. And as you can see, you have the tea pitcher over there, and teapots usually small, but it will be a good portion for 2 cups or maybe 4 cups. And then you also have the tea scoop and also tea pick. And this is a very simple way for the display. And one important thing about making good tea is when you have the hot water, before you make the tea, it is important to warm up those teacups or the teapots. And people do that in order to make sure that when you pour the tea leaves inside the teapots, the fragrance will come out and they will preserved inside the teapot. And also, when you have warmed up the teacups, and then after when you drink the tea, the flavor and the aroma will be stay inside the cup, and you will taste a very good tea. And then this is another display of the tea table. As you can see, flower is a very popular way to decorate the table. And right now, let's talk about the modern tea. Yeah, I believe everybody know about bubble tea right now, because right now it's international well known. And this is the modern types of tea. It's called bubble tea. And there are different stories about who and when people sell this kind of tea. But we know that it's from the center of Taiwan and also from the south of Taiwan. We usually drink tea in winter or in any other occasion, but most of the time, traditionally, we drink hot tea. But as you know, if you know about Taiwan, that in summertime it's very, very hot. So for young people or for children, it will be always nice to have tea as a beverage, but they prefer to have the tea in cold. And therefore, this kind of tea started from very casual tea stand. And when people, they learn they can put the ice into the tea and then they can shake it to make the bubble. And the tea can get a very special flavor when they drink. And therefore, it was very popular around 1980s. And there are many, many stores in the South that they also sell this kind of bubble tea. And then in 1983, one of the very famous bubble tea shops, they produced this kind of tea we called Zhenju Nai Cha. The special trait about this kind of tea is in the bottom, yeah, you will see they have the ball inside is called tapioca balls. And then another trait about this kind of tea is you will have a very fat straw, yeah, when you drink it. And of course, it is tailor-made, in order to make people or the guests, when they drink tea, they can also suck this kind of tapioca ball, yeah, back to the mouth, and you can bite. And the taste is a little bit chewing, and so it's the double enjoyment. Aside from drinking this kind of tea, you can taste the special flavor of tapioca balls. And so right now, everybody, when they talk about bubble tea or Zhenju Nai Cha, yeah, they will have this picture in mind. Two important traits. One is the ball, another one is the straw. And right now, it's not only popular in Taiwan, but also yeah, around the world. And then this is the way that I want to introduce how people make this kind of bubble tea. And as you can see, this person is trying to teach us how to make it. So what do you need when you make this kind of tea? This is what you need. You need to have the powdered creamer, that is number one. And number two, you will have the syrup, yeah, because you need the sweetness, especially in summertime when you want to drink it in cold. And one of the most important ingredients, that is the tapioca balls, because it will make the quality of the bubble tea. And then the fourth one, yeah, the major role, that is hot tea. And make sure you use the very good tea leaves, yeah, to make this hot tea. And then you need to have the cup, and also the measuring cup as well, because the right portion is important, and a special shaker. Later we will also give you a short introduction about how to shake it. And also, when you test it, you need a straw and you need a mixer. So those are important portions when you want to make bubble tea. So how do you do that? Before shaking, you add the powder creamer, ice, and syrup, and hot tea into the shaker. And then hold the cover and also the cup very well. Okay, are you ready? So when you hold it, then you shake it very hard. And how long does it take? Yeah, do not shake it for too long, usually 30 seconds. And so after that, you will know that you have to try to mix them. So you will take up the tapioca balls, and then you pour the milk tea into it. And so, yeah, just pour it carefully. And later on, remember we still have the mixer. So you have to take out this mixer, and then you started to stir and mix the milk tea with the tapioca balls. And you will see, you know, the tapioca balls is dancing inside the cups. Yeah, this is the way that you stir the milk tea, and then it will be ready for you to drink. So, not too difficult. You can enjoy your bubble tea at home if you have those ingredients. And then let's talk about the tea shops in Taiwan. Yeah, the tea shops are several. And due to the development of the society, and people want to have something very convenient, and so there are many, many stands of the tea shops in Taiwan. And as we have mentioned, there are more than 15,000 registered tea shops in Taiwan. And in different kind of tea shops, you will enjoy different kind of tea, of course. And drinking tea is not only an art, it's also part of our life right now. And then let's see what are the tea, what kind of tea do we have? You know, the bottom part are the tea bags, and it will become, right now it's becoming very popular to get this kind of tea when you travel. It will become a very good gift. And then look at the shape and also the appearance of those tea leaves. The first one is oolong tea, and the second one is baozhong cha, baozhong tea. The third one is tie guan yin. The third one is called Oriental Beauty, Bai Hao Oolong, or you can say Dongfang Mei Ren Cha. Very beautiful name, Oriental Beauty. And then the fourth one is the tie guan yin oolong tea. And then the two bags, they are high mountain tea. High mountain tea actually referring to the tea they are growing more than 1,000 meters. And because the time is less, the time for the tea leaves to grow is limited, and therefore it's more expensive to get. And then there are some difference from the appearance you can see, and also from the color, and also the taste will be different. And I hope if you have, in the future, you have the chance, you can try to learn more. And of course, oolong tea is very, very popular in Taiwan. And the very easiest way to recognize that is like a ball when you when you look at the appearance. And then Oriental tea is very popular in a little bit north of Taiwan, like in Hsinchu and Miaoli, and people love that because it is has a very special taste and also a very special name. And it was said that during the time that the tea was drunk by the Queen of Victoria, and she loved this tea very much, and that is how people get this Oriental Beauty as the name of this kind of oolong tea. And then let's talk about some traditional, or actually they are modern tea shops, but they use the very traditional way to decorate the store. And this is one of them. And this is also another types of traditional tea house. As you can see, the display in general is the way to make you feel relaxed. And usually people will spend a lot of time, you know, just try to drink the tea. So they will go with some dessert, yeah, to come up with the tea drinking. And there are some popular milk tea stores as well, or tea shops. And latte is also one of the flavor. And then in Taiwan, all kinds of tea, they will add different kind of ingredients to make the different types of tea. And usually put oolong tea inside, and then you can have the flavors of the fruits. Yeah, most of the popular parts is adding the fruit into the tea, become the fruit tea. And like lemon or grapefruit juice, yeah, those are all very popular ingredients to make this kind of the fruit tea. And then passion fruit as well. You know, if you add green tea, and then you will have a very good taste on it. So this is a good example. And also grapefruit, as I just mentioned, also very popular. And then this one is lemon tea, and you add honey into it and make a very good tea, of course. And then popular toppings to the tea, including those, but not just those examples. They actually will add much, much more. And that's why there are so many tea shops in Taiwan. And then it's very important, yeah, when you come to Taiwan, and then you want to make sure the tea is just, you know, in your, favor of you, because you need to know how to order. And then how do you adjust the sugar and ice? Yeah, when you come to the tea store, those are the questions people will ask you, because it's rather tailor-made right now when you visit a tea shop. So make sure you know about those different labels. First, let's talk about the sugar label. You have no sugar, and low or light sugar, 30% of sugar in it, and then half sugar, less sugar, or standard. Actually, for young children, they will love standard because that is the very normal way when people drink some sweet tea. And because the modern time people drink too much of sugar, and therefore they would prefer to have no sugar or the light one. So you can actually order your own sugar label when you come to the tea shop. And then the last one, there's also ice label. In the very hot time, of course, you want to have more tea, more ice, but you don't want the ice to destroy, the flavor or the aroma of the tea, and therefore you can decide your own ice label as well. And so the ice label has 6 of the different labels. The first one is no ice, or just a little bit, or less, or just normal. But if you prefer, coldness rather than the tea itself, actually you can have the extra ice. And if you are drinking tea in, the very normal weather, in the cold time as well, maybe you just want to have the room temperature tea. So remember, they are ice label and the sugar label when you come to Taiwan to order the tea. So I hope you will enjoy the tea shops when you come and visit Taiwan. And it's always nice to test the bubble tea. Okay, thank you very much for your join to my class, and I hope you will love tea, and welcome again when you visit Providence University. I will show you around and to the different tea house. Bye-bye.